Okay, my favorite restaurant Seribu Rasa.
Yeah.
In English means 1,000 tastes.
Oh.
Host the private party in Melbourne. Feels like
Oh, crazy.
crazy.
Oh,
Okay.
crazy. So crazy.
Supported by tractor. Cooking with tractor. Yeah. They have native instruments. no, I never.
This
tried.
is a bit off topic, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, welcome to Selective Talk, Edition 1, Edition Josh Butler.
Hi everyone.
We have Josh Butler in the house, guys.
In the house.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Alongside with NANDI and DHIKA. Okay, we're just gonna have a little chat before the event. First question is, what do you think of Jakarta, man?
Well, yeah, so far so good, man. I arrived yesterday. Haven't seen too much of the city yet, so I can't comment too much. But it seems very chilled and like good people. We went for dinner last night at an amazing restaurant. So I'm loving the type of food here.
What was the restaurant?
I can't remember the name. This is your favorite restaurant now?
Okay, my favorite restaurant Seribu Rasa.
Yeah.
In English means 1,000 tastes.
Oh.
It's cool. Right?
Yeah, Seribu Rasa.
Oh, yeah.
1,000 tastes.
Big up that restaurant.
Yeah.
You taste 1,000 something?
Yeah, that beef dish.
Yeah,
was
rendang.
Arangdang.
Yeah, rendang. Yeah, UNESCO said it's one of the finest food in the world.
Well,
It's said by UNESCO. not
I
me.
agree. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should bring some rendang, man, back to the UK.
I should learn how to make it actually.
Yeah.
I enjoy cooking, you see, so it'd be
Oh,
cool
really?
to yeah.
It's a different kind of mixing, huh? With music and food ingredients.
Yeah. Kind of goes hand in hand though.
Okay.
I find that a lot of DJs enjoy cooking.
Yeah.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah, so Dubfire also.
Yeah.
And some supported by tractor. Cooking with tractor. Yeah. They have native instruments,
Well,
stuff, and cooking and doing cooking.
yeah, he's a
At
big
Eddie.
foodie.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright, guys.
So all of us.
Well, you mixing, right?
No, I never
This
tried.
is a bit off topic, yeah.
Okay.
Alright, is this your first time here in Jakarta, right?
The first time in Jakarta, second time in Indonesia.
Okay.
So I
When
went
was
to
the first
Bali.
time?
I went to
Okay.
Bali a few years ago. It was probably like 4 or 5 years ago now.
How'd you like it better, Jakarta or Bali?
I mean, it's similar in some ways. Like the climate seems similar, but Bali is obviously a lot more like slower paced and much more beaches and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling like Jakarta's music scene anyway is going to be a lot more thriving, and there seems to be a lot more party people.
Yeah.
I don't know actually. Maybe I'm talking nonsense because Bali has a big party scene as well.
Well,
obviously.
you don't know yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bali is a holiday destination and have a more tourist vibes.
Yeah,
And
more tourists for sure.
we are here. We are for the party. People who's coming to the party is like students, working class, and they all stressed out looking for something.
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of vibe with Bali. But yeah, I agree with you. We have a thriving scene at the moment.
When I was in Bali, it seemed a lot more international. You
Yes.
know, there were people from all parts of the world.
True.
Obviously, lots of Australians. There were people
sure.
from India and oh yeah, everywhere, man.
That's
English
why
people.
we want to actually like let the world know that Indonesia is not just Bali.
Yeah,
There's Jakarta. There's a lot of other cities too.
for sure.
Yeah. What about you guys, Nandi and DHIKA? You guys played overseas?
Me, I was playing a few times at Singapore and Kuala Lumpur, and always having a great gigs there. I'm looking forward maybe next year for Vietnam or Thailand.
Very
Already
cool.
making some connections over, and I think for the next year, I will be focusing myself on maybe creating a tour over the Southeast Asia.
Cool.
That's my plan before the pandemic actually.
Yeah.
Already locked in, but all cancelled. But I think 2023 is the time for me to make it to Asia, make it more to Asian market for myself. Yeah. Also, I think it's good to doing some exchange gigs with the regional talents as well, so we can making a good connections and also learn from them. That's my plan for next year.
Cool. What about you?
Overseas. Maybe 5, 6 years ago in Melbourne, but private party.
Oh, his home country.
Yeah, not a private party, not in club. Yes.
Okay.
Not yet.
How's the private party in Melbourne? Feels like
Oh, crazy.
crazy.
Oh,
Okay.
crazy. It's so crazy.
I've been to a
You
few
play
parties
like
in Melbourne, I
6,
can imagine.
8-hour sets?
Yeah.
Oh, so crazy.
It never
Awesome.
stops in Melbourne.
No, no stop. After that, we go through. What the club's name? Revolver.
Revolver,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it opens on Friday, ends on Monday.
Well,
Yes.
you're gonna be playing in Revolver, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in two weeks I'm gonna be
so
there.
Crazy.
Love that place.
Cool. All right. So, what's your guys' expectations for the crowd tonight?
I don't know about the crowd, but I mean, before we started
the
this
vibe.
podcast, we were doing the sound check.
Yeah.
I intended on playing like 1 or 2 tracks and play for an hour. So I was loving it, man. I could party all night even if there's nobody here.
Okay.
Even if it's just us guys,
That's
we're gonna
the-
have a great time.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, it was like, let the door open, man. Let's
Yeah.
start.
Bring it on.
Yeah,
But I think it's going to be good. It seems like it's been really busy online.
Yeah.
Lots of people tagging me on Instagram and stuff. So I think it's going to be a busy night.
Awesome.
I think so.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think tonight's gonna be great.
Lit, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, hoping so. Yeah, this our first time doing a night for Selective debut event at Leon Goldstein. We bring over Josh Butler, so my expectation is quite high, and I hope so. We're gonna rock it
Yeah.
for
We
sure.
have to rock
Oh,
it.
sure.
We
No
have
doubt about that. I'm not worried.
All right. Next question. Out of all genre, why house? Why?
For me,
Yeah.
I've experimented with a lot of different genres over the years. I've always been into electronic music of all forms. But I think the reason I chose house is because it was kind of in the middle, tempo-wise, it was in the middle of things I was interested in.
Okay.
So I was always a big fan of ambient and chill-out music,
Mhm.
but also of like hard house and drum and bass,
Oh,
which is
cool.
quite fast tempo. And then when I seriously started to produce, like I've been producing for many, many years, but when I seriously thought, okay, I might try and make a career of this, house music was in the middle of those tempos. So I felt like I could fuse a lot of my influences into house music from like reggae and hard house, and then meet them in the middle at a kind of house tempo.
That's probably the right strategy, huh?
Yeah.
If I might ask a questions, how old are you when you starting produce?
Probably about 12 or 13.
Holy
Yeah, I
man.
started producing from a PlayStation game called Music. And it
Oh,
was-
you're using PlayStation in the
Music
right
of-
way.
Yeah.
Okay, what next game?
Yeah.
Okay,
but-
okay.
My dad's friend gave me a stack of like copied games, like
Okay.
cracked games, and one of them was Music, and I was just obsessed with this game, for a lack of a better term, but it was basically like a sequencer. It was like a basic version of Ableton or
Right.
Cubase or something, where you had pre-made blocks of like drums and then bass line, and you could arrange everything in different ways. And then from there, I just got fascinated and dedicated my whole life to it, really. And
I wish I had that.
yeah, it was very inspiring for me as a kid.
Yeah.
Actually, I have one interesting questions, at least for me, to ask to Josh. Was thinking of this last night. Yeah, we know you are producing house music, right? But just want to know your opinion. I mean, your answer on this. We have a tech house that becomes so generic right now, right? And it's almost sounds like EDM with the same drop, same formula and stuff.
I'm so glad
Yeah.
bringing this up.
And now we also have a minimal deep tech category that also starting to sounding the same. It's like same dubby stuff, same hooks, same whatever, same same sound. I mean, it's like seems like one producer successful making a track that reaching the top 10, the other producer start copying the formula.
Yeah.
How about you as a producer to keep your sounds always fresh and different, so it's not getting like, oh, another Josh Butler track, it's a monotone track. I mean, how do you stay different from those who always trying to copy the same sound?
The two things that are springing to my mind are, firstly, like I mentioned before, I have a very broad range of influences.
Okay.
I listen to a lot of different styles of music, so I try and avoid listening to a lot of house music, or especially like the new deep minimal tech house or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't really listen to that stuff at all. I listen to a lot of old house music, 90s, like Kerry Chandler, Masters at Work, and then that's if I'm listening to house music anyway. But also when these genres get popular, I tend to go the opposite way and run the other way. So like I spent a lot of this year experimenting with different sounds, and I did a track with Dennis Cruz on Crosstown Rebels.
I know.
Which is kind of more like Latin influenced and just the opposite to deep minimal tech, you know.
Tech house become generic, then deep minimal tech become generic. So
but then actually a lot of people started to do the Latin infused house as well.
Okay.
So I haven't made another track like that since, and I just try and move forward, you know. I don't want to be someone who chases a trend. I think like from the beginning of my career, when Got a Feeling was released 2013, that kind of set a trend, and a lot of other people started to make tracks like that.
Okay.
And then I look for something new, rather than try and do the same thing again. Just try and experiment, really.
So it's actually the real challenge is over there, right? To always improving yourself, to be always on different and next level than other.
Yeah, I see my music production as evolution, rather than like chasing a sound or like being in a certain genre. Sometimes I've kind of worried about being too versatile, and people think, you know, this doesn't sound like what I expected. But also then there's pros and cons to that. It keeps me inspired.
Well, talking about producing, what I see is producing a track is a key to, you know, become successful, right?
It is now.
Yeah,
sure.
it is now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, when you produce some music, like, how do you know that you target the right market? Do you aim for that, or do you just
I never did, to be honest. I always just sort of focused on the music, and I've always stood by, let the music do the talking. Because I've never been like the most sociable person in the world.
Right.
I've always just focused on music, and then it's funny, like the evolution of the DJ scene. If you want to be a successful DJ, at first you could just be a DJ, right? Then you had to be a producer as well. Now you have to be like a social media expert as well.
Yes. So, you do everything by yourself.
So in terms of like marketing, I try not to focus on it too much, and because you could let it take over your whole day, and then you don't have any time to make music.
True.
So I really try and just let the music be the main thing for me. And then obviously I have Origins Records as well, the label. So a lot of the marketing is focused on that, rather than my specific tracks.
Okay,
I hope that explains it.
That's a very good tip.
I just try not to get too focused on markets and stuff, otherwise you can lose creativity.
It'll just flow by itself, right?
You know, if people like the music, then great, and then it will expand it on its own.
I agree.
So also another question for you. We both, me and Dika, is a local DJs in Jakarta, and we are both not yet producing anything. So before you say start producing, what are the tips? You also want a local, right? before you are going international.
Yeah, of course.
You're
For
also
years
a
and
local
years,
DJ. So, do you have any tips for local DJs on how to develop a good scene, a good local scene in here? So,
great question, actually.
yeah.
I mean, being part of the community and building that community is so essential. And when I was a local in Manchester and Leeds, they were my main two cities. It was all about different events, working with each other, and not becoming competition. You know, because it's still quite a small scene, right? It's a very underground scene, this music. So I think even though I was a resident for like one night in Leeds and one in Manchester, and there were other nights in those cities as well, but we would always communicate with different promoters and make sure that we weren't doing events on the same night and competing against each other. So we were like open communication with different people in the scene and helping to build the bigger picture.
So, Dika, what do you think about what Josh saying? Is it happening in here at the moment?
No,
Not really, huh?
not really.
Not really. Okay, so
Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I understand because a lot of people do see it as like they get like protective over it, you know.
Yeah.
I think if you want to build something bigger, and this is kind of what I'm trying to do in New Zealand at the moment as well, because I went to school in New Zealand, and the house music scene over there is quite small.
Yeah.
So I'm now part of a festival over there, which we're doing the first one in December. But we're always trying to speak with other promoters and make sure we're all kind of working together and get other DJs from different events to play, do swaps, you know, like you kind of said before. Yeah, and just try and like see it as house music on a whole rather than just one event.
Maybe you can share some information for the festival.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we could put it on the
17th of December in Queenstown. It's called This Kind of Day Festival.
Yeah.
We've got me playing, Dorley, Heidi, and then a few others as well.
Yeah, I saw the video of the place.
Oh,
awesome,
no, yeah, beautiful location as well, surrounded by mountains.
Yeah.
Very lucky in New Zealand to have good locations like that.
Cool. All right, last questions. Do you have any upcoming releases, tracks that you want to share?
Yeah, my next release is on my own label, Origins Records. It's going to be the end of November. 2 tracks. One's called Take Control, which I'm definitely going to play tonight.
Okay.
And the other one is called Infinite. Yeah.
Are you going to play that too?
Maybe, but it's a bit more of a big room track.
Okay.
So we'll see what the energy's like tonight.
Okay.
If people are ready, then yeah.
All right. So make sure you guys are ready, yeah?
okay.
Any other project you're working on? Yeah, you mentioned something earlier, right?
Yeah, so this year I've been very focused on an album for a new project I've been involved with called Maritime Yacht Club.
Okay.
And the other guy that's involved was actually the voice of Got a Feeling in 2013. So I didn't really see, his name's Jose, right? I didn't really see him for the best part of 10 years after Got a Feeling. He got married. I started to tour and stuff with my own music. But we recently got together and started this new project, which is a little bit more like song-based, I would say. It's still house music, but he's done a lot of the vocals. He sang and did guitar. So yeah, it's like been really refreshing for me actually to focus on that.
So it's a different kind of feeling, right?
Yeah, it's helped. It's actually helped creativity with my solo music as well.
Yeah.
Debut album, right?
Yeah.
It will be on Origins?
No, it's going to be self-released. So
on your label?
No, so
it's going to be another genre, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a different genre. Didn't really fit on Origins, so we spoke to a distributor, and they're helping us just release it as a solo album. So it's not really on a label as such. It's
like you're gonna put it on Bandcamp or something?
It will be. It's going to be on a label, but the label won't really have a name.
He's going to create another genre.
He's basically creating a new label just to release this, and then.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a different way of doing it, but the music industry is changing all the time. So we think it's very important to own your music these days. Because a lot of labels want to sign your music and keep it forever. We learned this mistake from Got a Feeling, actually. We signed away way too many rights with Got a Feeling. And we basically don't own hardly any of that track. So we said, if we're going to do this again, we're going to do it all ourselves, promote it ourselves, and just see how it goes. It's kind of an experiment as well. I think that's the way a lot of the music industry is going to go over the next 10 years. Yeah.
Okay, thanks Josh. And what about you guys? Any project or gigs coming up?
For me, I'm starting again Enter the Void project. It was a project that me and some local DJs doing at the Coliseum Club from 2015 to 2017. It's an after hours party. We start the party from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m.
Oh, Josh, you should be there. Josh.
That's just crazy days, bro. That's crazy days. It's way before, and I'm more smaller than this, so I look more thinner on that day. So I'm so okay. Now we continue the project again at Mejan Bali. Mejan Bali. Not as an after hours, but as a club night. But I think we can finish at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. So quite interesting, as we also collaborating with locals from Bali with this night, and we are doing it every Saturday. So each of the residents from Jakarta will be flying in each and takes turn each week. So yeah, it's quite interesting, and hope we can do something in Bali. But the main important thing is, from ETV, we are promoting locals. The headliner will be always locals.
Always locals. Okay.
We also have some expat DJs as well too. But the highlights will always be on the locals.
Awesome.
That's all for me.
Will Mark be there as well?
Yeah, sure. I will invite him to play.
I guess he's an expat DJ, right?
Yeah.
Well, you should invite him too.
Next time.
You?
Or you?
I think I'm gonna make some music, my own music.
Okay.
Produce some music.
You're starting your own music.
Yes.
That's great.
Actually, it's in a hallway today. I'm working with my friend Angga.
Okay, nice. He's a good producer.
Yeah. That's
Very
my
good.
project.
Can wait to hear.
Huh?
We can wait to hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna release my track too.
Yeah.
Like in 5 years. I don't know. I'm kidding. Alright, that's it for tonight's episode of Selective Talk, Josh Butler edition. And enjoy tonight. We have an event here in Lyon, and it starts at 8. So you guys better be there. Don't miss out on the very big night with Josh Butler as a headliner, and Dhika, Hoagie, and Nandi as well. So I'll see you guys there tonight. Bye.